Hello and welcome to the Central Television. I am Likon Onobanjo. The top stories at this hour. The leadership of the People's Democratic Party meets in Bauchi State to strategize amid internal crisis. Nigeria's anti-graft agency EFCC declares oil mogul Bolaji Akinduro wanted for alleged fraud. 18 killed in inter-communal clashes in Kenya. Details to come your way shortly. Let's begin by telling you that the acting national chairman of the People's Democratic Party in Nigeria, Umar Damagum, visited Governor Bala Mohammed, the chairman of the PDP Governors Forum, emphasizing a commitment to strengthening party unity ahead of the 2027 elections. The meeting, which took place at the Bauchi State Government House, highlighted the need for a unified approach to overcome recent challenges that have threatened the party's cohesion. Despite the significance of the discussions, the acting chairman chose not to engage with the press regarding the ongoing issues within the party, leading to speculation about the impact of these crises on their electoral strategy.
We came as a friendly visit, but to discuss, like I earlier said, so many things. As a committed brother, me and him have come a long way, and that he has been very supportive. I want to reiterate this to my, running this party so that we stress things out, and he has also given me his commitment to continue to do so, so that we'll have one united party. I want to use this opportunity to tell Nigerians that PDP is a brand, is the only surviving party since 1998. We have tested so many turbulences, we have come out of it strong. And today we are reorganizing ourselves, uniting ourselves to make sure that come 2027, we take what rightfully belongs to us.
We have agreed and discussed these suspensions extensively with the acting national chairman, and we have resolved to work along together with other organs of the party, the BOT, the members of the Governors Forum, the caucus of the Senate and the House to resolve all these issues. And that is the major takeaway of this visit, that henceforth will deepen stakeholding, will deepen collaboration, so that all these issues that are disparaging the members of the party will be resolved and nip in the bud.
Now, the Kogi State Governor Ahmed Ododo has urged directors of local government and treasurers to uphold the tenets of local government autonomy and professional ethics in the discharge of their responsibilities. Governor Ododo stated this at an interactive session with the Forum of Directors of Local Government and Treasurers at the Government House in Lokoja. The governor, who charged the local government administrators to see themselves as representatives of government at the grassroots, noted that their performance as top civil servants will strengthen relationship between the government and the people and bring about more development in local government administration. Now, Peter Obi, the presidential candidate of the Labour Party in the 2023 election, says it is extreme of President Bola Tinubu to allow an increase in the price of petrol while he is vacationing in comfort. Tinubu is currently on his annual vacation in Europe. In a post on X, Obi said he praised Tinubu acts in the best interest of the citizens before returning to the country, because many Nigerians are living under unnecessary precarious conditions. On October 9, the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited increased the price of petrol across its retail outlets nationwide. The petrol price adjustments has aggravated the country's economic crisis, stoking the operating cost of businesses amid fears that inflation could worsen. In the meantime, the president of the Nigeria Labour Congress, Joe Ajaero, says the recent petrol price hike is harmful to the 70,000 naira minimum wage recently approved for workers. In an interview with journalists, Ajaero said the organs of the Labour Union will meet next week to decide their line of action on the petrol price hike. Recall that in July, President Bola Tinubu signed the minimum wage bill, increasing the workers' pay package from 30,000 naira to 70,000 naira into law. The price of petrol was around 700 naira per litre when the minimum wage bill was signed into law. The NLC president said the new petrol price hike will be resisted, noting that the minimum wage was agreed upon when the pump price was 700 naira per litre. To discuss this, we're joined by development economist Bala Mohammed. Thank you so much, Mr. Olojede, for joining us on the news.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Now, the price of petrol is over 1,000 naira, but the petroleum minister, who is the president of the country, seems less bothered by the situation. Now, we understand that the sector is fully deregulated, but isn't there a way this price can be made affordable to the citizens?
Is it fully deregulated?
Well, that's what we know. That's what they said. That's what they said.
Yeah. So that is where it all starts from. The transparency of the pricing regime in itself. When you have a situation in which NNPC will say, oh, I got the product at so much from Dangote, and then Dangote will say, no, I sold it at a different price. When you have a situation in which someone says, oh, it's fully deregulated, but my landing cost is 1,200. However, I'm selling for 1,000 naira. Where is the full deregulation in that kind of a situation? So I think a deeper question to, or a deeper issue to demand, even by labor, is a bit more transparency even in the pricing regime. How much is this product? And what are the other components that goes into it to give us a final price? We don't know. That is the reality. You see, the line that labor is trying to pursue will not be a solution. Okay, it was 70 naira because, 70,000 naira, you want them to increase it. Okay, what if they increase it to 90 naira? And then the following month, the price of petrol moves again. So what do? We go back and ask them to change it to 100 naira. Is that going to work? Obviously, that is not the solution.
But even Dangote Group itself has also remained coy as regards the price. Why are they not coming out with the details that we can mine and have an understanding of what the price is and, of course, the issues around it?
Let labor take that upon itself to help Nigerians. The lack of transparency in that space is horrendous. And it is not a public thing. It's not private. This thing is public. So please make the information available. You can even, when you do that, you can even be able to solicit or elicit our support into whatever you seek to achieve. Is it the regulation? You can solicit our support. But when we don't even know, how do we support you? So the transparency is horrible. Let that be a core demand of NLC. We want to understand this pricing regime for PMS. Of course, why won't Dangote be coy? Dangote is a businessman. He needs to make money. So if your regulator, you can't afford to be antagonizing your regulator all the time. It will cause problem for you. So it is for Nigerians to demand transparency in the pricing regime of PMS in Nigeria. We don't know whether it has been deregulated. We don't for it.
Well, that's the information they shared with us. Of course, I'm saying that now it is fully deregulated. The Ipman can just go straight to Dangote and everyone can negotiate their price and get the fuel, whatever price at whatever cost they would, get it based on the terms of negotiation with the supplier. But then let's look at what can be done. Now, economists have come out to say that since fuel subsidy is gone, then the government should, in a way, subsidize the value chain, maybe to bring down the price. Do you think that is feasible?
Well, it is feasible, but what a potential problem is that our administration of subsidy in itself has not been transparent. So even when we take this subsidy and locate it somewhere else, we're still not sure whether it will be transparent or it will become an opportunity for some people to make money while the real beneficiaries only get trickles in benefit. I think we must pursue the alternative energy issue. You see, this CNG matter that is being put in the space, can we develop something more structured that can facilitate a proper rollout? See, I listened to a gentleman on the TV recently. He was talking about an event in Adoekiti, and two of his friends, one came in a CNG car, the other came in a PMS Toyota Camry. The CNG guy, according to him, spent 9,000 naira on fuel. The other guy who came on a PMS vehicle spent 48,000 naira on fueling. There is something about that mathematics that we need to tap into.
Well, a fantastic narrative, I must say. But then some have also questioned the possibility of sustaining or escalating the use of CNG because, of course, we saw the price increase in pump like 3 times in about 2 months. And there's the speculation that by the time everyone embraces the CNG, the prices will begin to go up too. The ability to sustain that particular energy source is also a source of question. And the rollout, like you said, of the modalities to see that it cuts across the regions of the country is also another question. So is this something that we can actually rely on? Or maybe it's another flash in the pan?
If we're determined to do it, we can do it. I just don't want a situation in which we will do it narrowly, we'll approach it narrowly. We have to look at all the complexities. For example, we know that we have much more than enough gas. We're a gas nation, but those gas, they are under the soil somewhere. So are we going to be able to produce enough? If adoption revs up today, if more people start to adopt CNG, are we going to have enough gas to meet the demand? Because like you rightly observed, if we do not have enough gas to meet those demands, then prices will start to go up again. And we might be back at a similar situation to what we're running away from. Then the infrastructure is not yet there as it's supposed to be. Nigerians would love to be able to drive into the nearest CNG station and buy CNG. I don't think we have that right now. I don't even think that our capacity to convert is at a level that could hasten adoption at this time in question. But if we have decided that this is something that will help us in the medium term or in the medium to long term, can we put a structure around it and deploy it? There's nothing as good as being able to have an alternative. Rather than PMS, we have been used to PMS since the first car entered Nigeria. So asking somebody to jettison what he has been using for decades and adopt a new one, it's not going to be a walk in the park. But if this new one offers an alternative, I'm sure that in the medium term, it will be better for it. We will all be better for it.
Now, even the cost of conversion of petrol-powered cars to CNG is said to be on the high side. A lot of people seem not to be able to afford that. But then is there possibility to actually, accelerate the process for the government to have a PPP, have the private sector come into it, invest in this, so that the embrace can be broad and the spillover can be rapid? I mean,
it can be done. It's a matter of putting financing in the place. Let's look at a situation. I was discussing with someone who had bought fuel into a Sienna. And the full tank of a Sienna, which is a 20-gallon vehicle, is about 80,000 naira. She said she uses 1 tank in a week. What that means is that within 3 months, she will have spent 1 million naira on fueling.
Wow.
In the alternative, if that vehicle was a CNG vehicle, maybe she would have spent 150,000 instead of 1 million naira on the same fueling. So the decision becomes easier when you look at the cost benefits that you will reap via a CNG engine as opposed to a PMS engine. But is that awareness even there? And then all those other things that make financing, like you said, Somebody might be able to afford 1 million over 6 months, but he may not be able to cover 1 million at a time. So all you need is for somebody else to provide that 1 million to him today so he can do the conversion, and then he will pay that person over the next 6 months. It is possible. It is all part of the comprehensive approach to launching this as an alternative, if indeed we want to launch it as an alternative.
Okay, so finally, the NLC has come out to say that it is going to resist the price hike. And of course, you talked about an approach that could be meaningful in terms of, probing the process and having an understanding of what needs to be done. The highest they probably would do is probably call for a strike. But then if we're going to be critical around holding the government by the jugular, what do you think with the machination of the NLC we can do to ensure that we make the best of this and ensuring that whatever it is, Nigerians are able to affordably purchase this commodity?
I will urge NLC to focus more on demanding for transparency in that pricing regime. It is actually much more important than demanding for a price reversal or asking for a further increase in minimum wage. Those minimum wage and demanding that the price be taken down are not things that are sustainably pursuable. We cannot continue to chase that cycle over and over again. But if we understand the pricing regime, even when they are doing their negotiation, it makes it easier for them to negotiate because they themselves now understand how it works. You can probably even project what will be when the price will change. They can project it by themselves because the variables that go into determining what should be that price is known, is public, is transparent. If it is, let's for example say exchange rate and the price of crude in the international market are two key variables that go into determining that price. So once those metrics are changing, we ourselves we even know that very soon there might be a price change. And if it is the other way, if the price is going to fall, we will also know because we will know, oh, price of crude has come down in the international market, but we don't know the basis. They just throw numbers around for us.
All right, Bala Mohammed, thank you so much for this. A lot of Nigerians are hurt by this. We just hope something will be done soon in the best interest of the citizens. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Of course, you're welcome. You're watching News Central now. We go on a short break. When we return, we'll tell you about securing Delta even as the police have arrested a man on wanted list 3 years after. We'll be back in a bit. Many thanks for staying with us. We talk security now. The Nigeria Police Force has said residents of Ughelli, Warri, Sapele and its environs in Delta State, South Nigeria, can now sleep with their both eyes closed following its proactive measures in tackling the challenges associated with kidnapping and armed robbery in the areas. This revelation has come in amidst insecurity that ravaged the areas in the past few months. News Central correspondent Austin Azu completes the report.
For the past few months, Ughelli, Warri, Sapele and environs in Delta State have repeatedly been on the news, obviously not for good, for myriad of security challenges confronting the areas. This follows regular kidnapping and armed robbery activities along the Ughelli-Patani Expressway. One of such was the kidnapping of university students on transit on the east-west road, among other security challenges that make the Ughelli-Patani Expressway almost impossible and impassable for commuters and road users.
Currently at the heart of Ughelli, and we are here to engage the residents of this area to give an assessment of the security like in Ughelli and environs.
The security is very, very poor. You cannot travel in night, you cannot even move at night. Because of the bad boys.
The security situation in government presently, I think to me, it's okay and you're doing well, but I feel it's not enough during the night hours, as at the hours of 10 till 2 a.m. in the morning. When you go around Ughelli at that point, you virtually see no security agent on the road. It's very, very appalling.
I want the government entirely to take care of our security. to set in a good way.
But the Delta State Police Command claims peace has returned to the once troubled Ughelli town and environs through the deployment of the CP Special Assignment Team to flush out enemies of the state.
But I would like to add that since the deployment of this team to Ughelli, like I said earlier, Ughelli has regained peace and calm. Residents in Ughelli, Sapele, Wari, even Ogara, they can now sleep with their 2 eyes closed.
Parading these 52 suspects at the Ughelli A Division before newsmen, believed to be among those suspects terrorizing the twin cities of the town, the police public relations officer Bright Dafe listed their crimes to include kidnapping, armed robbery, courtesan, internet fraudsters, gun runner, among others. One of the suspects is a man said to have been on the police wanted list for the past 3 years, and a female suspect who uses her POS business for ransom payment transactions.
Upon arrest of the suspect whom I said who have been on the street for the past 3 years, he made us to know that one of the rifles which he uses, he handed over to his friend nicknamed Piccolo. We stormed his residence in Mosoga and also arrested him, and one AK-47 rifle loaded with 6 rounds of live ammunition was also recovered.
Some of these suspects who confessed to their crimes regretted their actions.
I did do business of kidnapping before, so how many people have you kidnapped? I've kidnapped 5 people. Huh? 5. 5? Yes. Location? Between Saple and Wari.
I was arrested because I wanted to buy AK-47.
AK-47
rifle from Bakpo.
From Bakpo? How did you know that he has AK-47 rifle?
It was the one who told me.
It was the one who told you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, how much?
1.3.
Why did you want to buy the rifle?
Because I was going for number 1 man in my court.
What is the name of your court?
Vikings.
Vikings?
Yes, sir.
Items recovered from the suspects include 3 rescued kidnapped victims, ransom of 5.5 million naira, 47 rifle, 1 AK-49 rifle, 1 G3, 6 pump action gun, among others. In Ughelli for News Central, I'm Austin Azum.
The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission has declared oil mogul Bolaji Akinduro wanted for alleged fraud. A statement by the EFCC urged the public to provide information on Akinduro's whereabouts. 51-year-old Akinduro is the executive chairman of Total Grace Oil and Gas Investments Limited. Akinduro is accused of obtaining money under false pretense and committing stealing by conversion. He is an indigent of Ondo State and he has been advised to report to the EFCC offices in Ida, Ibadan, Uyo, Sokoto, Maiduguri, Benin, Makurdi, Kaduna, Ilorin, Enugu, Kano, Lagos, Gombe, Port Harcourt, or Abuja. Away from that, the House of Representatives is pushing for a bill to establish the Bola Ahmed Tinubu Federal University of Nigerian Languages. The bill, sponsored by Deputy Speaker Benjamin Kalu and 8 others, is aimed at establishing a university for the promotion of the learning of Nigerian languages. Section 2, Part 1 of the bill provides that the university, when established, shall encourage the advancement of learning and will give all persons the opportunity of acquiring a higher education in Nigerian languages and cultures. But I'll tell you that President Bola Tinubu and his wife, Oluremi Tinubu, are set to chair the banquet ceremony marking the 90th birthday celebration of the former head of state of Nigeria, Yakubu Gowon. This was made known by the National Planning Committee responsible for honoring the former president in Abuja as they unveiled the program of activities lined up for the celebration. They described the former president as a national icon, commending him for his integration strides during his tenure in office and after the nation's civil war.
General Gowon very wisely decided and ensured that there was no victor, no vanquished. That policy was extremely important in the process of reconciliation. The first event for the 90th birthday is a public lecture. 90th birthday public lecture, by the grace of God, to be delivered on Friday, 18th October 2024, by Dr. Akinwumi Adeshina. The second event will be a national, a birthday, 90th birthday Thanksgiving service. The third event planned by the National Planning Committee is the 90th birthday celebration banquet for the celebrant, with the special guest of honor, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and the First Lady, the former presidents of Nigeria as guests of honor.
The Borno State Government has officially launched a new electronic staff web app aimed at streamlining administrative processes within the state and local government civil service. The initiative is part of a broader effort to modernize governance and improve efficiency in public service delivery. News Central's Marakarawa has more in this report.
The recent flood that devastated Maiduguri, the Borno State capital, and other parts of the state remains one of the darkest experiences for the people. Lives were lost, public and private infrastructure collapsed, livelihoods were destroyed, and many official documents were lost. Officials from Borno State's local government areas are being trained on the electronic staff web application, an online platform that stores and manages sensitive information.
Most of what you want to say is to the only person you want to get the information is the only person you get information. And it will also help in reducing the issue of leakages.
It will help the Borno State Civil Service to get access to all their civil servants' files and all their informations.
The training is so much interesting because I believe this portal will make some works for the agencies and ministries so easy.
This training is designed to help them navigate the eStaff app, which is intended to enhance staff management, improve communication, and reduce bureaucratic delays.
This is, of course, an innovative solution because, to the best of our knowledge, Borno State is like the first state to adopt this approach to enhance information security.
This capacity building will definitely aid in assisting the government in controlling, or should I say training, those that are concerned in the line of the new media aspect.
The launch of the Borno eStaff web application, held at the University of Maiduguri, was attended by key government officials and stakeholders who emphasized the importance of leveraging technology in governance.
We are in a new era, whether we like it or not. Technology is fast changing. People are now, activities, even routine official activities, are shifting from the paper and the pen to the computer, to the disk, to the CD. So because of that, I think this capacity building program will play a significant role in actually unleashing civil servants in Borno State, local government workers, into the new world.
The eStaff web app is expected to significantly enhance the integrity of the civil service in the state. In Maiduguri for News Central, Umar Damagum.
Youth participation in politics and leadership is vital for the growth of any nation. Recognizing this, the Akwa Ibom State Youth Executives have made it a priority to encourage youth involvement in leadership roles. On July 13, 2024, they took a significant step in this direction by conducting an election that led to the emergence of Honorable Utoekong Uwemobong Usongo as the new youth leader. To celebrate this milestone, the Akwa Ibom State Community Akiscom Youth Wing in Lagos held a gathering where Honorable Usongo outlined his vision for the future. Well, coming up on the news, 18 killed in intercommunal clashes in Kenya. We have more details on this. We will bring it to you when we return. Do stay with us. We continue with the stories and tell you that the intercommunal clashes in southeastern Kenya have killed at least 18 people in the past 2 weeks, police said on Saturday, as security was boosted in the affected areas. Interior Minister Kithure Kindiki declared 12 areas of Tana River County dangerous and disturbed due to the clashes which have pitted communities of pastoralists against resettled flood victims. Kenya's National Police Chief Douglas Kanja ordered residents to surrender their firearms to prevent a further escalation of violence. The fighting, which has been most severe in the town of Bura, began when the county government offered land to Riom people displaced by flooding on the banks of Tana River, the longest in Kenya. Local pastoralists protested, arguing that those people being relocated would be occupying their grazing grounds. Now, the government of Namibia has sought the help of Nigeria's Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission and the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission in its fight against corruption in the country. This was just as it declared that because Nigeria is leading in the fight against corruption in Africa, it needs to share its remarkable achievements in fighting corruption. According to a statement cited on the Commission's website on Saturday, the partnership is aimed at exploring training opportunities as well as sharing of expertise with personnel of the Namibian Anti-Corruption Commission in the fight against corruption. The statement noted that the Namibian government made the call on when its ambassador to Nigeria, Humphrey Gaze, paid a courtesy call to the ICPC's headquarters in Abuja, Nigeria's capital city. Mozambique's opposition presidential candidate Venancio Mondlane has expressed concern about the recent general elections, stating that the regime will do everything in its power to avoid losing. This comes after the International Republican Institute's preliminary statement on Mozambique's general election highlighted several challenges, including inconsistent accreditation of domestic observers and party agents, late changes to electoral legislation, and reports of illegal use of state resources during the campaign period. The statement also noted that the pre-election period and election day fell short of international standards, with many issues raised in previous elections still not addressed. The Institute urges the National Elections Commission to conduct a fair, transparent and timely count of the results.
Em conclusão, do ponto de vista político, não só questões técnicas, nós estamos numa situação que comprova que temos regime que tudo vai fazer para que não perca as eleições.
From other continents, we tell you that Iran's Parliament Speaker Mohammed Ghalibaf on Saturday denounced Israel's crimes as he visited the site of the deadliest Israeli strikes on central Beirut in recent weeks. A source close to Hezbollah had said on Thursday night's strike that the strike in the densely populated Basta neighborhood and the nearby Inbiri district had targeted the Iran-backed Lebanese group's security chief, Wafik Safar. While neither Israel's military nor Hezbollah confirmed Safar was the target or commented on his fate, Lebanon's health ministry said the strikes killed at least 22 people, the deadliest inside the capital in weeks of escalation.
جمهوری اسلامی ایران از تصمیمات دولت لبنان، ملت لبنان و مقاومت در این زمان در زمینه‌های مختلف حتما حمایت خواهد. من در سفر امروز که به مقصد بیروت اومدم، از تهران اومدم به بیروت که سلام گرم ملت ایران رو و دولت ایران رو، مجلس ایران رو و به ویژه پیام رهبر معظم انقلاب رو به مردم لبنان برسونم که مطمئن باشید جمهوری اسلامی ایران در این شرایط سخت کنار ملت لبنان، دولت لبنان و مقاومت در
Poland's leader said on Saturday that he plans to temporarily suspend the right to asylum as part of a new migration policy, pointing to its alleged abuse by eastern neighbor Belarus and Russia. Prime Minister Donald Tusk said that the state must regain 100% of the control over who enters and leaves Poland, and that a territorial suspension of the right to asylum will be part of a strategy that will be presented to a cabinet meeting on Tuesday. He did not give details, but said at a convention of a civic coalition that his government will reduce illegal migration in Poland to a minimum.
Bezpieczeństwo. Więc jeśli ja na przykład dzisiaj głośno powiem, że jednym z elementów strategii migracyjnej będzie czasowe, terytorialne zawieszenie prawa do azylu i będę się domagał uznania w Europie dla tej decyzji, to dlatego, bo my dobrze wiemy, jak to jest wykorzystywane przez Łukaszenkę, Putina, przez szmuglerów, przemytników ludzi, handlarzy ludzi, jak to prawo do azylu jest wykorzystywane dokładnie wbrew istocie prawa do azylu. Nie będziemy respektować ani implementować żadnych europejskich, unijnych pomysłów, jeśli będziemy mieli pewność, że one godzą w nasze bezpieczeństwo. Mówię tutaj o pakcie migracyjnym i kontekście. Nikt mnie do tego nie zmusi, nie przekona. Państwo musi odzyskać 100% kontrolę nad tym, kto do Polski przyjeżdża i wjeżdża. Żaden rząd w Europie nie zrobił tyle złego z punktu widzenia bezpieczeństwa swojego narodu, ale także granic Unii Europejskiej, jak PiS w Polsce. I podlał to sosem nacjonalizmu i pogardy dla innych ludzi.
Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump has sparked controversy with his latest remarks on immigration. At a rally in Aurora, Colorado, Trump called for the death penalty for migrants who kill U.S. citizens or law enforcement officers. He also repeated false and misleading claims about immigrants, fueling nativist sentiment. Trump vowed to make November 5 Liberation Day if re-elected, pledging to implement policies centered on mass deportation. Critics argue his rhetoric perpetuates harmful stereotypes and ignores the complexities of immigration. Trump's hardline stance has drawn sharp criticism from local officials and residents who urge a more nuanced approach to addressing the issue.
But to everyone here in Colorado and all across our nation, I make this pledge and vow to you, November 5th, 2024 will be Liberation Day in America. It will be Liberation Day. And I will invoke the Alien Enemies Act of 1798. Think of that. 1798. This was put there. 1798. That's a long time ago, right? To target and dismantle every migrant criminal network operating on American soil. We will send elite squads of ICE, Border Patrol, and federal law enforcement officers to hunt down, arrest, and deport every last illegal alien gang member until there is not a single one left in this country. And if they come back into our country, they will be told it is an automatic 10-year sentence in jail with no possibility of parole. And I'm hereby calling for the death penalty for any migrant that kills an American citizen or a law enforcement officer. But Kamala has imported an army of illegal alien gang members and migrant criminals from the dungeons of the third world. And we have to live with these animals.
Business now, the three-day African Monetary and Economic Sovereignty Conference concluded in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, with a focus on empowering the continent through economic self-determination. The event, themed Leveraging Multipolarity, Economic Options for Africa, brought together a diverse group of academics, policymakers, and thought leaders from across Africa and beyond to explore pathways to economic sovereignty. New Central's business correspondent, Perpetua Fasumi Peter, was there and filed in this report.
Economic sovereignty, U.S. hegemony, debt restructuring, domestic resource mobilization, climate change. These words and phrases have dominated conversations in the past 2 days. But as day 3 unfolds, the focus will be shifting to de-dollarization and Pan-Africanism. But can Africa achieve this? Well, let's get into the meeting and hear what they have to say.
My experience is the IFS exposed African countries to recurrent balance of payment crisis, debt crisis, which are, in my view, an inevitable outcome of the long-term deterioration of commodity terms of trade, the growth-crushing borrowing rate, and balance of payment constraint imposed by dollar funding. I once asked an IMF colleague that what would happen to Italy if instead of paying 2% on their debt, they were paying 10% or 15% like an African country. His answer was clear: Italy would default.
For Dr. Arauz, Africa must also pay attention to the global payment systems.
Payment systems are a crucial infrastructure of the global economy and, of course, national economies. But very few people know who are the players behind the global infrastructure of the payment systems. Few people know, for example, that every time you use a credit card out of the two major companies, a copy of every transaction is stored in data centers in the United States, that because of the USA Patriot Act, it means that U.S. government agencies, sometimes those affiliated with the military, have access to all of those transactions.
Having established that these structures jeopardize Africa's economic sovereignty, what then must the continent do?
It is important to de-link the national payment systems, the regional payment systems, the African payment systems from those hegemonic players so that there can be more sovereignty, more possibility to not only improve the economic situation of the people in Africa, but also to improve the sovereignty of the information related to the payment systems.
In essence, monetary integration has become the necessary conditions for effective sovereignty and development in Africa. It also has the potential to accelerate implementation of the AFCFTA and will bring geopolitical power to the regions, the way the dollar has to the US.
It's been over 20 hours of non-stop debate, deliberations, and conversations on how Africa can achieve economic sovereignty. This conference has featured the best minds, economists, professors, even thought leaders from Africa and around the world. However, those who are vested with the responsibility of turning these conversations into policies are not here. Well, it is my hope that when the communique gets to them, they'll do the needful. In Addis Ababa, for News Central, I am Perpetua Fasome Peter.
Sports. Tunisia Football Association is preparing to take Nigerian referee Peter Obi to the Confederation of African Football, according to reports. Obi was in charge of the 2025 African Cup of Nations qualifier between Tunisia and Comoros. The Tunisia Football Federation alleged that Obi decided to overlook a well-deserved penalty in the course of the game. The country's football body has concluded plans to take the matter to the African governing body for review and possible punishment. Brazil's President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva has urged the national team to favor home-based players over stars like Vinicius Jr. and Richarlison. And despite a wealth of talent, Brazil has struggled in the 2026 World Cup qualifiers, facing defeats to Paraguay and a Copa America exit against Uruguay. New coach Dorival Jr. is yet to find success, and Lula is pushing for a focus on domestic players rather than top-flight international stars. Players who might be affected by this shift include Barcelona's Rafinha, Real Madrid's Rodrigo, and several Premier League players. Interestingly, both goals in Brazil's recent 2-1 win against Chile came from players at the domestic club Botafogo, supporting Lula's arguments. And that's all at this hour, but before we go, we'll look at our major stories again. The leadership of the People's Democratic Party is met in Bauchi State to strategize amid internal crisis. Nigeria's Anti-Graft Agency, AFCC, has declared oil mogul Bolaji Akinduro wanted for alleged fraud. We also told you that 18 people have been killed in inter-communal clashes in Kenya. Don't forget to watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, Star Times channel 274, Avo TV and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I am Likon Onobanjo.